name is Tab Benoit, and we're in Houma, Louisiana, in the heart of Terrebonne Parish in Bayou Black. Lived in this area my whole life. I grew up on these waterways and I watched a lot of it wash away. You know, watched a lot of land disappear. Basically, this is what a healthy, freshwater swamp environment looks like. This is your natural barrier. This is the natural separation between the Gulf of Mexico and the populated areas, you know, like New Orleans. We don't have a beach or cliffs or anything like that. Our coast is made up of this.
Wetlands are our first line of defense against hurricanes. They can cut down waves and they can reduce storm surge. And so without those vital wetlands out in front of us, we're just becoming more and more vulnerable to these storm events that seem to be coming more and more often.
Wetlands provide food for all sorts of wildlife. They provide food for things that we eat. They provide food and shelter for shrimp and crab. Economically, this is like where the biggest chunk of this country's seafood comes from. So the wetlands provide habitat and food for all that seafood. They also provide habitat and food for waterfowl and migratory birds. This whole delta is just it's a network of wetlands and really a mosaic of that. You've got everything from swamps, which are like flooded forests, a lot of salt marsh here in the Mississippi River Delta. We've got beaches, we've got barrier islands.
Loss of our wetlands, especially on the Louisiana coast, is just an environmental catastrophe. We're losing about football fields of wetland every 45 minutes. And it's due to several reasons. It's due to development in these wetlands and then also oil and gas canals. And that also allows salt water from the ocean to get into these brackish and freshwater swamps and marshes. And that salt water at that quickly can kill those wetlands very, very fast. And then it just basically feeds on itself. You have more area that's exposed to the salt water, which allows more salt water to get in, which kills more wetland, which causes more area to be exposed to the salt water. And then also the walling off the Mississippi River. We cut off the sediment and the fresh water from the Mississippi River that used to nourish those wetlands, and we've levied them off, and so now can't get in there more, and they're basically sinking and dying. It's like, you know, cutting off the veins from your hand, and your hand is going to slowly die.
I can take a lot, man. If you live down here, you have to be able to take a lot. We've taken a lot of hits, and you know, it's jabs and it's jabs, and then every once in a while a left hook comes or a right hook from a big storm or something, you know.
The BP spill brought a lot of oil into the coastal zone, and that oil, interestingly, it stayed on the fringe of the marsh.
We've seen oil lapping up into our shores, lapping up into our wetlands, and killing those wetlands and causing damage to the wildlife that we haven't even begun to be able to quantify.
I think we're going to have to wait a full growing season before we know the full extent of land loss from this spill.
You know, the Gulf of Mexico has basically been the country's energy sacrifice zone for years, but hopefully the silver lining will be that that has caused the rest of America to really realize how important, how stressed the Gulf of Mexico is. Because I don't think it's beyond saving. I don't even begin to think that. But we also need to make sure that whatever we're bringing in, when we are drilling, that we're doing it safely. When we're bringing in petrochemical industries, that they are safe and clean. Reintroducing that water in controlled diversions back into key areas of the wetlands so they can get that fresh water and that sediment that they so vitally need to start re-nourishing those wetlands.
How much longer do we have left? You know, it's hard to say, but it's somewhere on the order of a few decades. You know, we probably don't have 100 years left. We probably have time in the next few years to really start to create land and reverse this process.
What's happening here is just a metaphor for the rest of this country, for the rest of its history. I mean, I just want to make sure that it's documented, you know, that this is what this place used to look like, this is what it looks like now, so that people can see the future. It doesn't take Nostradamus to see the future around here, you know?